Hello, this is just a short overview on taking photographs of Irish moils. There's five basic tips really that we're going to be talking about today. The first topic we are going to cover is presentation, the presentation of the animal. And really there's four basic points here. That the animal's clean and not dirty, that the animal's dry and not wet, that the animal is warm and not cold, and the animal's in good condition, not poor condition. So when photographing an animal, especially if the photograph you're going to be using it for to help sell the animal or to enter a competition, a virtual competition online, the animal really needs to be clean. And this may require you to wash the animal beforehand and get the coat, well brushed. And this will apply whether the photograph is being taken, whether it's being a halted photograph or a photograph of the animal in the field. The animal still needs to be clean looking. Take photographs on a dry day. Besides the problems of the camera lens having droplets that will distort your photograph, the animals don't look their best. The hair will be either flattened or sticking up, and it's better if you do take a photograph on a dry day when their coats are, looking better. Again, animals that are cold don't photograph well. They'll not show themselves off. They'll either be standing with a hump on their backs, their heads down. And again, this is the same if you've just washed an animal that you're taking a photograph on the halter. You may need to leave it to the next day to get a photograph of the animal, let it get used to, having the shock of getting washed and dried. Again, livestock photograph a lot better if they're in good order and good condition. And I know it's not always possible, but sometimes due to closing dates of sales and photographs are having to be taken just after the winter months. And there isn't a lot that you can do about this other than making sure that they're clean, well washed and dry, and the coat is well brushed. If you can leave it for a few weeks of livestock being on better grass and better weather, they can look like a different animal. The second part of the topic that we're going to discuss is the angle that you photograph your animal at. Take the photograph of the livestock on its right side, and this is the side if you were in a show ring that the judge would be looking at, or if you were getting a professional photographer to take a photograph, this is the angle, the right side is the angle you would be taking the photograph of. Again, take the photo side on of your animal to get the full length of the animal. Now you may need to reposition yourself and take lots of photographs. And again, you may have to take the photograph at different heights. And again, it's better to take lots of photographs of side-on position at the different angles and at the different heights rather than just a couple of photographs, because it's wonderful that difference of just stepping around a wee bit, the difference it can make in a photograph. And again, move yourself around rather than the animal if the animal is standing up not particularly well. The third part of this topic is the animal stance, especially the back leg stance. When photographing an animal, ideally you want to see all four legs. The two legs nearest the camera are slightly offset to allow full view of the two legs furthest away from the camera. This is easier to do with an animal that is on a halter because the handler can help you with the positioning of the animal. Out in the field it's a wee bit more difficult to get that perfect photo, but if you have patience and wait for the animal to take a step forward, ensuring that the back leg stance is in a position that is neither too far in underneath the animal or too stretched out. The fourth topic we're going to discuss is the head position of the animal. The Irish moil has a very alert, pretty head, and to capture the breed characteristics, you want to get the photograph of the animal with the head slightly lifted up, but not too high up, ears forward and the angle of the head slightly looking round, just enough that you can see both ears. It might help actually if you have somebody with you to get the animal's attention to look alert. It's wonderful what getting the other person to rattle a bucket with nuts in it for getting the animal's attention to look interested on what's going on, and also to look in the direction which, makes the animal look alert and sharp looking for the photograph. The best part of this topic is the background. When taking a photograph of an individual animal, be aware of the background. And what I mean by this is try not to have a busy background with objects or other cattle or people in it, or even just gutters. Try and have it that it's a plain green with a grass field, grass garden background with trees or a hedge is great. And the reason for this is because of the colouring of an Irish moil. The skyline, if it's a grey day, can make the photograph look distorted because the white stripe of the animal blends into the skyline. So just be aware of that. It can really distort the photograph if the white stripe is blending into the sky. Another thing to be aware of is the level of the ground. You don't want to make your animal look as if it's starting downhill. You always want it to be looking more uphill. And a wee tip here is don't photograph or zoom up too close, because this will allow you, when you're editing the photograph or straightening, you can straighten the photograph afterwards. Another thing to be very aware of is the light and the sunlight. Again, make sure the sun is to your back when you're taking a photograph of the animal, and the full sun is on the side of your animal. And just be aware of the shadows then that's created from the sun. The head of the animal can throw shadows then down the body, or the halter, the person that's holding the animal, their shadow can show up on the animal as well. Really, hopefully all these tips will help you, and the big thing is plenty of practice. Get out there with the camera and take lots of photographs. They're only basic, common sense tips that we've given, and there's other things like your settings on your camera and that you can look at. And we just wish you all the best and good luck with your photographs.